is a farm that began in 1750, before, when England owned everything. And Joseph Chapin was the owner of this house, and his wife. And Joseph was a Revolutionary War captain for Uxbridge. And he built the house. He was a housewright, so he built that house. And it's a gambrel style, typical 1750s type of house. Also built the barn, and there's some outbuildings in the back. And all these fields, try to envision no trees, because that's what it was like during that period. And you're going to see a number of stone walls where fields used to be. But we're blessed to actually have some of the open fields over there that still remain as one of the rarest fields in Massachusetts, because it's never been farmed by a mechanized tractor or anything. It's all been farmed by horses and oxen. And we're going to start the walk off over on the side of the house over there. So we're going to cross the street. There's a number of wells along the way. There's a pond over there. This was a very fertile land, believe it or not, with all the rocks. But and I'm happy to have everybody here, and hopefully we're not going to get too wet, fall down or anything. But you've got an experienced bunch, and you've done this before. So welcome to Cormier Woods.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're all caught up here. This is one of the unique rock formations, the Cormier Woods, and all of these big boulders that you see, not only here but all through New England, are called erratics. And when the glaciers came through and they withdrew, they left all these rocks. Some of them are very huge, like the one behind you there. But this one's unique because I often think that the Indians used this rock as like a meeting place. It's all factual, not factual, fiction. But if you go in the back, there's a rock in the back, and it looks like they built a fire under it. And even right here, I can picture the Indians sitting on this rock, and they have maybe a fire going here, and whoever met a comet, who was King Philip, would be talking to them out here. Because they were out through this whole section of the forest. But when I first saw this, I was just amazed by it. Because it pops up. So I want to just stop and explain that to you. You have to use your imagination. Okay, so this foundation, we believe, was a barn at one time. Excuse me. And this is part of the White Homestead. And this is where his barn was. And what these folks are looking at here, hopefully they're not going to fall in, is a well hole that used to take care of the farm. So you can picture good-sized foundation, so it was a big barn at the time. And then the road leads down here to that waymarker rock there, the big boulder. It has all the drill holes in it, so we're going to go over there next. Okay? If you look on this edge right here, and you can see along some of these here, they would use what's called a feathering tool. And they actually tapped it into the rock, and it would expand. And then they go up to another hole and do the same thing. And then they'd get up with a big sledgehammer and whack that piece of rock, and it would split off. Like what you see here is all part of that. And then they would cut it into smaller pieces and make foundations for houses and barns, or whatever they would do with the rocks. And again, this has a area under there where you could stay under there. and it's all black on the top, like there was fires built. It's like, and this dates to the very early 1700s, and there's a house in Sturbridge Village that has the same footprint. It was very small. It's this very small house, and right there is the base of the fireplace and foundation for the fireplace and the chimney. All homes of this era were built with that. The house I live in is that way too. In the center, it has a huge rock foundation, and the chimney is based on top of that. This was the front door to get into the house right here, and this was the step, which unfortunately got moved sideways. But that would have been the front step of the house, and those stairs leading up and the rocks along the wall indicate that somebody lived here, really took care of the property, and they kind of gardened and made a property. And then there's another foundation over there, and again, this is always theorizing that that could have been used as a small barn or a smokehouse. I like to think they keep their oxen in there. Who knows, right? But yeah, so right now this seems very remote, but in the day that road that went by there was a big road. It went to a mill, and came all the way up, went over the hill and connected up with another street over there. So things change over time. You don't realize that sometimes the most forested areas were the most densely occupied. No one's fallen in there yet. I don't want to have anybody go in there. So.